Hello, y'all. So I'm on the last page of the Unit 2A packet, and this is two-step equations. Just for examples, I'm gonna work through these, and remember, feel free to fast forward, rewind, and pause as you feel necessary. So I'm gonna start with number one, and I'm going to notice that 5x minus x, I'm going to notice that those two are like terms. We can't forget the things that we've done from previous sections because there's an imaginary 1 there. So this is actually 4x is equal to 3x plus 2. So now my goal is to get x by itself. I'm trying to isolate x. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And I'm doing this because I understand that this 3x right here has a understood plus in front of it. So I'm doing the inverse operation from page, I think it's page 3 up there. So this is going to be 0. And then I'm going to bring down the 2. And this is going to be 1x. So now I see that 1x is equal to 2. But this is the same thing as saying x is equal to 2. And it's good practice to check our solutions. So let's go ahead and come to the side and try that. So I'm going to do 5. Sorry, I stopped talking. I'm going to do 5 times 2 minus 2 equals 3 times 2 plus 2. So all I did was substitute, which was one of the properties from above. So wherever I saw an x, I just replaced it with a 2 since I know that those two terms are equal to each other. So on this side, I have 10 because that's 5 times 2 minus 2 is equal to 6 plus 2. My left hand side, I know 10 minus 2 is 8. Right hand side, I know 6 plus 2 is 8. So yes, that checks out. For number 2, we see that we have the distributive property going on. So all I'm going to do first is multiply this 5 by everything that's inside of the parentheses. So I'm going to have 5x plus 5. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my right hand side. I'm going to multiply 2 by everything on the inside. So that's going to give me 2x plus 20. Now, I could move my x. I'm going to try and not make this confusing. I could move my x over here first. Or I could move my 5 over there. But I would get the same answer in the long run. Excuse me. I'm gonna go ahead and go with the option of moving the 5. So I'm gonna subtract 5 from both sides because I understand here they did addition. So I know the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm gonna subtract 5 from both sides. And notice I didn't point that out in the first example, so I want to make sure that I'm pointing out that I'm subtracting it from 20 because these are the like terms here. These are both constant, so these are the like terms. I can't subtract 2x minus 5 because those are not like terms. This is going to cancel out because these are inverses. So we would get 0 because that's plus 5 minus 5. And that would just give us 0. So now I have 5x on this side is equal to 2x plus 20 minus 5, which is 15. So I'm just going to write 15 there because I know 20 minus 5 is 15. Now I'm going to move this positive 2x. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And notice that positive 2x and negative 2x right here, these are inverses of each other. So this is going to give us 0x, which is just essentially 0. And on this left-hand side as well, we have 3x. So 5x minus 2x is 3x. And this is going to be equal to 15. We're going to bring that term down. Now we can use the distribution property, not distribution, division property of equality and divide both sides by 3. We also notice that the operation going on here is multiplication. They're multiplying the x by 3. So if we divide it by 3, we should understandably get what x is by itself. So x is equal to 5. Now I'm going to just substitute that 5 in for everywhere that I see an x in my equation to verify my answer. So now I have 6 inside these parentheses, 5. Then I have 2 and a 15 inside these parentheses. 2 times 15 is 30, and 5 times 6 is 30. So my answer does check out, and 5 is the correct answer for number 2. We have 2 more left. Number 13. Oh, number 3. So we have the distributive property going on the right hand side. So that's the first thing I'm going to do to go ahead and clear things up. So I'm going to distribute that 5 to everything inside the parentheses. So that's going to give me 5 plus 20x. And I'm going to bring down that negative 2x, well, minus 2x. And notice, I'm not multiplying this 5 all the way out to that negative 2 because those terms, this negative 2 is not a part of this parentheses. I'm only distributing this 5 to everything inside of the parentheses. Then I'm going to write my other side. It's negative 13. And I'm going to simplify these two terms because from a previous chapter, I know that these are like terms. And I can add them together. Well, subtract them actually. So 20x minus 2x, I'm just going to combine my coefficients. So I'm going to get a positive 18x. And then I'm going to bring down a negative 13 on the left-hand side. Now, I'm going to get rid of this 5 so that I could leave my x term by itself because that's ultimately the goal. I want to pause right there and just let you guys know that's the goal of everything that we're doing. We're trying to get x by itself because I haven't said that nowhere in number 1 or 2. We're trying to get x by itself. So it's like playing chess, checkers, whatever game you play, spades, 2K. In this game, that's our goal, to get x by itself. So we're going to move this 5 to the other side. And it's a positive 5 right here. So when I move it across, just draw an imaginary fence right there, I have to change the sign. This is supposed to be an arrow. So now I'm going to subtract 5 from this side and subtract 5 from that side as well. And I know that plus 5 and negative 5 are additive inverses. So this is going to give me a 0. Now, excuse me, you guys. Now on the left-hand side, I'm left with negative 13 minus 5. Now I know if I have a negative number and I make it more negative, my number is going to be even more negative. So this is going to give us a negative 18 here. So now I have negative 18 is equal to 18x. So on the right hand side, I see that x is being multiplied by 18. So I'm going to do the opposite of that. I'm going to divide it by 18 because I understand that the inverse of multiplication is division. This is going to cancel out. That'll give me a positive 1. And a negative number divided by a positive number is a negative number. So this is going to give me negative 1x. I'm sorry, negative 1. It's just going to give me negative 1. I'm sorry. So x is equal to negative 1 supposedly. But let's just put that in and check our answer. So we have negative 13 is equal to 5, 1 plus 4, negative 1 minus 2, negative 1. I'm going to just clean things up a little bit. Change the color so I can see. This will turn into a positive 2. Negative 15 plus 2. And yes, things do check out as they're supposed to. So yes, our answer that x is negative 1 is correct. And sorry I stopped talking. First I multiply 4 times negative 1. Just gonna highlight it through as I go. I did 4 times negative 1 here. That's how I got the negative 4. And I could have wrote 1 plus negative 4, but that's the same thing. It's just writing 1 minus 4. And then I did negative 2 times negative 1, and I know that's going to give me a positive 2. So I just tack that on to the end. I know 1 minus 4 is negative 3, so I just simplified my parentheses. And then I distributed that 5 or did multiplication, so I did 5 times negative 3. That's how I got the negative 15. And then I brought down the positive 2 and combined those two terms together since they are the same. And I got negative 13. And if I look up, I see that those two terms are equivalent to each other. So now let's try and look at number 4. Alrighty, sorry about that. So for this question, I know we see the fractions and we may not want to do it, but I promise it's the same process as we've been doing. So we know that we can add and subtract fractions as long as they have the same denominator. Like in theory, we could add 2/4 and 3/4. And we know that we can add and combine like terms as long as they're like terms. So like 2x and 3x we can combine, and 2x and I just wrote the same number, 32x we can combine, for example. But 3j and 2x we can't combine. They're not the same. So let's just keep those things in mind, because though y'all know that. So let's just keep that in mind when we're trying to do number 4. Don't let the fractions mislead us. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna just keep it simple. I'm gonna do what's simple. I'm gonna just move my 8 because I really personally like to touch my x term last. So I'm gonna move my 8, and I see that it's a negative 8, so I know I need to do the inverse of that. So I'm gonna add 8. And if I did this correctly, if I did this step correctly, I'm gonna notice that it'll equal 0 when I'm done. And I know that negative 8 plus 8 does in fact equal 0 because they're additive inverses. So yes, I've done that step correctly. Now I'm gonna add the 8 to this positive 9 because they're like terms. They're both constants. We could add those together. So now I have 2x over 5 is equal to 17 minus 3x over 5. But these two terms actually satisfy the conditions that we said it had to. The numerators we can combine, because they are the I'm sorry, you guys, they are like terms, and the denominators are the same. They're both 5, so we can actually combine them together in the same expression. So over here, I'm gonna erase the purple box. So I see the operation going on right now is in fact subtraction. I see that it's a negative 3x over 5, so I'm going to do the opposite of that, which is a positive 3x over 5. And this is going to give me 0. But on the other side, I'm going to write it over horizontally so we can see it out. I have 2x over 5 plus 3x over 5 is equal to 17. And if I combine my numerator, I see that I can simplify that to be 5x over 5 is equal to 17. Now we should see something. We should notice something here. This 5 over 5 simplifies to be just 1. So I have 1x equals 17, but that's the same thing as saying x itself is 17. We can check our answer to the side. I really wish I had a calculator on me right now. Yeah, I did it in Symbol Lab. The answer is 17. It is right. But I do not want to do this by hand because they don't even have the same denominator when I can't do those out. But yes, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to add those at the note that I put at the end of the video. And as well, if there are any tips or feedback that you guys have, please feel free to leave that at the end of the video. And I know my pen, I think my pen does make sound. And then I'm trying to get over my cold now, so I do apologize about the sniffling. But hopefully you guys, this video was helpful and that you guys do understand how to do two-step equations. So yes, you guys stay safe, wear a mask.